All right, Bears fans, let's dive right in and break down everything that's going on with the Chicago Bears right now. There's a lot to unpack, especially with some key players coming back from injury, lineup questions, and a defense that has been showing flashes of brilliance, but also areas where adjustments are necessary. Starting with Kyler Gordon, the big question on everyone's mind is where he fits when he finally returns. Right now, he's on short-term injured reserve, which could be extended depending on how his recovery goes, so we don't have a definitive timeline yet. But looking ahead, when he does step back onto the field, the challenge for the coaching staff is figuring out how to maximize the impact of both him and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who has been nothing short of phenomenal at the nickel position. Gardner-Johnson is that versatile nickel safety hybrid who brings energy and playmaking ability to the field every single game. And honestly, taking him off the field just isn't an option. He has become a cornerstone of the Bears' defensive identity this season, and his presence energizes the entire unit. That puts Gordon in a bit of a puzzle scenario. Do you move him outside to cover for Tyreek Stevenson or Nan Wright? Or do you find some creative way to keep both Gordon and Gardner-Johnson on the field at the same time? Ideally, you want both on the field because they are dynamic, game-changing players in their own right. Gordon has experience at outside corner, especially in base formations, so there's at least a foundation for the coaching staff to explore that option. It's a delicate balancing act, but it's one worth experimenting with because Gardner-Johnson has earned his role and the Bears cannot afford to disrupt the rhythm he brings. Now, when it comes to the starting nickel position, if both players are healthy, it's still Gardner-Johnson for me. He has put in the work, produced at a high level, and has been consistently reliable when on the field. Gordon is talented, no question, and could very well be the long-term solution, but this season, health has been an issue, and it's tough to argue against Gardner-Johnson's impact. His combination of physicality, awareness, and leadership makes him irreplaceable in certain defensive schemes, and until Gordon proves he can stay healthy and deliver at the same level, Gardner-Johnson remains the guy you build around. Switching gears to the offensive side, there's been a lot of chatter about potential trades and how the Bears can leverage their talent for future picks. Players like DJ Moore and Cole Kmet have been evaluated in hypothetical trade scenarios, but realistically, turning them into a first-round pick is unlikely. Moore, for instance, even if he puts up a solid season with around 800 yards and 5 touchdowns, is approaching 30 and not producing at wide receiver 1 numbers. Cole Kmet is a good blocker and could see more production as a primary receiving tight end, but his contract and age limit the trade ceiling. Breaking it down individually, each player might be worth a 3rd or 4th round pick, which still doesn't reach the value of a first-round selection. Teams generally don't overpay for aging talent unless they are in dire need of immediate production. So while these players are valuable to the Bears, using them to acquire a top-tier draft pick would be a stretch. The reality is that their impact is more immediate on the field than in trade value, and the Bears need to weigh keeping their production against the uncertain upside of draft capital. On the subject of other NFC North teams, Detroit has been a point of discussion, particularly with Dan Campbell taking over play calling. This is an unusual situation, but it underscores the importance of having a versatile coaching staff and the potential volatility of personnel changes mid-season. Detroit has talent, and while Campbell stepped in for a game and showed he can handle the role, the question remains whether this approach can sustain throughout the season. Meanwhile, the Bears are in a position to challenge for playoff contention, though the schedule is about to get much tougher. Observing how Detroit navigates this transition will be key in predicting the NFC North race, and Chicago's ability to capitalize on matchups and maintain consistency on both sides of the ball could make the difference in the final standings. Quarterback play has also been a hot topic, particularly with Caleb Williams and his arm strength. There are moments when his throws seem overly aggressive, especially on intermediate routes of 10 to 15 yards, but that's part of his competitive edge. There have been instances where he has thrown with excellent touch, connecting on corner routes to receivers like Romadune, demonstrating that he has the capability to balance power and precision. In cold conditions, the challenge for receivers increases, but ultimately, the quarterback's responsibility is to deliver the football accurately and decisively. That balance of strength and touch is critical, especially in high-pressure situations where every yard matters. On defense, Jaquan Brisker's contract situation is another point of consideration. Extending him on a team-friendly, one-year deal of $5 to $6 million seems prudent. He provides leadership and has been healthy, which adds value to the Bears roster, but overpaying for an up-and-down player could limit flexibility elsewhere. The decision between Brisker and other safeties like Bard may come down to cost-effectiveness and the ability to integrate young talent like C.J. Gardner-Johnson into other roles while maintaining the defensive core. Balancing veteran leadership with emerging playmakers is key to sustaining defensive performance over the course of the season and beyond. Looking at specific positional concerns, players like Sula have struggled against the pass, which highlights the challenges of depth and role specialization. Backup linebackers often excel in one area, such as run support, but can be exploited in passing situations, emphasizing the importance of strategic rotations and situational substitutions. Similarly, special teams play, including kickoff returns, has been inconsistent, and coaching decisions in this area will likely be evaluated at the end of the season. While mid-season changes are rare, performance evaluation in these specialized roles can inform off-season strategy and potential coaching adjustments. Ments, see you in the next video. As we continue to assess the Bears' position in the NFC North, it's clear that talent is distributed across multiple teams, with Detroit still perceived as the front-runner in terms of pure roster depth. However, Chicago is in the mix and has a legitimate chance to compete for a playoff berth. Maintaining health, balancing defensive schemes, and leveraging both emerging and veteran talent will be essential for the remaining games. The next few weeks are critical in determining the trajectory of the Bears season, with adjustments on both sides of the ball potentially impacting not only individual player performance, but also the team's ability to contend in the highly competitive NFC North. Continuing with the Bears season, one of the key themes has been adaptation. The team has faced adversity with injuries, personnel changes, and matchup challenges, but the coaching staff has shown flexibility in keeping players like C.J. Gardner-Johnson central to the defensive strategy. His presence has altered the way opponents attack Chicago, particularly in nickel packages where his ability to read the field and make plays in coverage is unmatched. When Kyler Gordon eventually returns, the challenge becomes integrating him without disrupting the rhythm that Gardner-Johnson has established. It's a puzzle that requires creative scheming, perhaps mixing base defense looks with sub-packages that allow both players to be impactful simultaneously. For a team with playoff aspirations, maximizing every player's strengths is non-negotiable, and the Bears are in a position where this kind of strategic planning can directly translate into wins. Offensively, the conversation around DJ Moore and Cole Kmet highlights the balance between immediate contribution and long-term roster building. Moore's experience and production, even if not elite at this stage of his career, provides stability and reliability at wide receiver, while Kmet's ability to block and contribute as a secondary receiving option gives the Bears flexibility in various formations. While the theoretical trade value of these players may not reach first-round pick levels, their real-world impact on game day is significant. Chicago's ability to sustain drives, convert third downs, and maintain red zone efficiency depends on having reliable, versatile players who can execute under pressure. Sometimes the tangible benefits of keeping proven contributors outweigh the uncertain potential of draft capital. The front office's challenge is to weigh these factors carefully as the season progresses and plan accordingly for the offseason. Turning to quarterback play, Caleb Williams continues to show both strengths and areas for refinement. His ability to throw with velocity can stretch defenses and create explosive plays, but managing touch and timing on intermediate routes is essential for consistent production. Even in challenging weather conditions, receivers must adjust, but the quarterback's precision remains a critical factor in minimizing turnovers and maximizing yardage after the catch. Williams' combination of arm strength and improving field awareness makes him a dynamic threat, but fine-tuning decision-making under pressure will be a focus if the Bears aim to compete at a higher level. The nuances of quarterback play, particularly under cold and high-stakes conditions, underscore how small adjustments can make the difference between a successful drive and a stalled series. Defense continues to be the Bears' hallmark this season, but depth concerns and positional weaknesses cannot be overlooked. Players like Sula, while effective in run support, have struggled laterally in pass coverage, illustrating the challenge of building a roster where backups can contribute meaningfully without creating exploitable gaps. Rotational strategies, situational substitutions, and defensive communication are critical to mitigating these vulnerabilities. Similarly, the effectiveness of special teams, from kickoff returns to coverage units, can swing momentum and field position dramatically. Chicago has shown glimpses of proficiency, but must maintain consistency if it hopes to secure victories in tightly contested matchups. Evaluating performance at each position and making calculated adjustments will be key in the upcoming stretch of games. The NFC North remains a tightly contested division, with Detroit perceived as the team with the deepest talent pool. Dan Campbell's assumption of play calling responsibilities is unconventional, but it could influence how the division shapes up in the final weeks. The Bears are positioned as challengers, capable of competing for a playoff berth if they execute efficiently and avoid injury setbacks. Every matchup counts, and maintaining focus, energy, and adaptability will be critical. Chicago's success hinges on both individual excellence and collective cohesion, particularly as the schedule intensifies and divisional games take on heightened importance. The team's ability to capitalize on opportunities and correct mistakes quickly will determine its standing in the division race. Looking at defensive leadership, Jaquan Brisker exemplifies the importance of veteran presence and leadership in tandem with on-field performance. His potential extension on a one-year, team-friendly contract emphasizes the balance between retaining key leaders and managing the salary cap effectively. Brisker's ability to guide younger players, communicate defensive adjustments, and maintain stability under pressure adds intangible value to the roster. While not every play will be spectacular, his contribution to team culture and defensive coordination is invaluable. Pairing him with other emerging talents allows the Bears to cultivate a strong defensive identity that can withstand the rigors of a full NFL season. Offensive scheming remains equally critical. Players like Cole Kmet can serve as flexible options, both in blocking and receiving, creating mismatches for opposing defenses. Integrating wide receivers and tight ends effectively, ensuring alignment with quarterback strengths, and exploiting opponent weaknesses are all part of a comprehensive strategy that maximizes scoring opportunities. The Bears' ability to adapt play calling to personnel strengths, rather than forcing players into rigid roles, will be pivotal in close games. Every yard, third down conversion, and red zone play matters, and Chicago's offensive coaching must stay nimble to capitalize on these situations. As the season progresses, injury management and strategic planning become central. Kyler Gordon's eventual return, the continued health of Gardner Johnson, and the performance of key offensive players like Williams, Moore, and Kmet will directly influence the Bears. Competitiveness, rotational depth, situational awareness, and the ability to adjust mid-game are factors that separate good teams from playoff contenders. Chicago has demonstrated the potential to compete at a high level, but sustained execution and adaptability will define whether the team can make a deep postseason run. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The NFL rumor mill is spinning faster than ever, and this time, Jaden Daniels is at the center of the storm. The young quarterback, known for his sharp mind and confident demeanor, made headlines after his recent remarks about the Chicago Bears, comments that have left fans, analysts, and even players buzzing with speculation. While Daniels didn't mention any trade requests or confirmed talks, the tone of his statement suggested something deeper brewing beneath the surface. In an interview that started off casually, Daniels was asked about the Bears and their ongoing quarterback situation. What seemed like a routine media moment turned into a headline-grabbing exchange. "I've got a lot of respect for what they're building up there," Daniels said with a smile, But sometimes you look at certain teams and wonder how things might have been different. That one line was all it took for social media to explode. Fans immediately began dissecting every word, every pause, every hint of emotion in his voice. Was Daniels simply being reflective, or was this a subtle jab at Chicago's decision-making? Some insiders believe he might be sending a message, not just to the Bears, but to the league as a whole. Others say it's nothing more than a young quarterback showing confidence and curiosity about his peers. Still, the timing of his comments, coming right as rumors of front office frustration circulate, can't be ignored. Within hours, clips of the interview went viral, with fans debating whether Daniels was expressing admiration, regret, or something in between. Former players and analysts weighed in, calling his remarks calculated and strategic, while others defended him as just being honest. If there's one thing clear from all the noise, it's that Jaden Daniels knows exactly how to stir a conversation. Whether this moment will fade or mark the beginning of a bigger story remains to be seen. For now, though, the NFL world can't stop talking, and the Bears, perhaps more than anyone else, are surely paying attention. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments.